Uh, I like Don Cheadle. I thought that, he had a lot of moments, of course. It's a kids movie where he was really cheesy and it
Yeah.
didn't work. But he had a lot of moments where I thought he was fun, especially like when he was cursing them out on the bench. Like it was funny. It was cool, I thought. I thought
You
that
like
I
his
don't think
name?
what was his name again?
Algae Rhythm.
Algae, that's terrible. But that was the worst. That was one moment that really made me like roll my eyes.
Let me put you on game.
And that'll do it for our NBA coverage, but we are going to transition into talking about something kind of nebulously connected to the NBA, but not really. In Space Jam: A New Legacy, the new movie from LeBron James and his camp, starring LeBron James. It's a continuation of the Space Jam that we're all nostalgically in love with and familiar with, and he's taking it to a new place. So, what are your impressions of the movie? What are your thoughts overall about the film itself? As we deep dive into the
Uh,
into the children's movie.
I, you know what? To be honest, you just said it. It's a kids movie.
Yeah.
Watching it as an adult, I'm like, uh, you know, like, I'm really just trying to get through it, man. I looked at the visuals, I looked at the acting. It leaves a lot to be desired coming from an adult. But if I was from age 3 to age 12, I think I'd be really into it, you know?
Yeah.
I think it would really speak to me in a lot of ways if I was that range. Because watching the film, I'm like, oh, they're just talking about stuff and doing stuff that was just not built for my generation anymore. You know,
Yeah.
like building your own video games, you know, being looking to be on Twitch and to be streamed, um, like trying to balance basketball and video games, which for a lot of young athletic prospects for the NBA, that's kind of what their lives are probably centered around. So this was probably very true to them and their generation. And although it wasn't my cup of tea, I could see how some other people would enjoy the movie overall. Um, Man, some of the acting was real cringy, and we can get into those moments. But overall, I think it was fun. It was colorful. It was nice to see the Bugs Bunny and the squad back up to their hijinks. Seeing your Daffy Duck, you know, making his impressions felt throughout the film, and LeBron, just trying to bring his legacy to a new younger generation of basketball fans, and just like Jordan did for us towards the twilight of his career. So, yeah, it was fun, but yeah, it was fun. I'll
Yeah.
try to be positive. It was fun,
it,
but
it was fun. It's same thing. I think that if you look at it from the context of trying to like evaluate it too critically or compare it to your feelings that you have for the first movie, it definitely falls short. But if you just look at it as a kids film, which is that's what it is, it's fine. It's not the worst kids film I've ever seen, because there's tons of really terrible children's movies. And anyone, especially our age, if you have kids or if you have nieces and nephews, we've all had to sit through some pretty trash kids movies,
yeah.
because the bar is incredibly low, because kids will love like anything. So
Oh
so
yeah,
that
yeah,
that appeals to their sensibilities. So it's not that bad, but it's also not on the level of like an Up or Wally, or like these kids movies, or How to Train Your Dragon, or these kids movies that have like a lot of thought and a lot of dedication put into them. You can see how well crafted they are, despite the fact that they're being marketed to kids. So it's
yeah.
somewhere in the middle. Like it's cool. Like if my kid was watching this, I don't have a kid, but if my kid was watching this, like I wouldn't just roll my eyes. Space Jam: A New Legacy again. But like I wouldn't also be like, oh, let's sit down, Junior, and watch Space Jam: A New Legacy. Like it would just kind of be like, fine. I can like wander in and out as far as my consciousness, and we can sort of entertain it. It's cool. But I also did want to say, like, people that are kind of have like a stick up their butt about the movie and comparing it to the original and comparing like Mike to Braun and their different performances, like, stop.
Yeah.
Like the Michael Jordan meme says, stop it. Get some help. because because looking at the Space Jam right now, if I were to watch it, the best thing about Space Jam, the original, is the intro. That's the only really good thing, undebatably, about Space Jam. After that, Michael Jordan's acting, eh.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the moments, there are some cool moments during the game, especially like, when the Monstars come in with the hit 'em high, and all of that. That's all great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of it that if you're not looking at it from with your 6 or 7 year old goggles on, it's not a good movie. So we just gotta
Yeah.
like unpack all of that. But we don't want to dwell too long on Space Jam with New Legacy, because
And
it's
one
not.
more scene in the original Space Jam that was really awesome was the other players that they had along for the ride.
Yeah, Basketball
Jones
Jones and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that part was funny. Seeing Charles Barkley, his performance was hilarious. When he was like, "You just a wannabe that look like Charles Barkley," or seeing all the guys hit their head in the hospital as they were rolling through, and Patrick Ewing getting therapy that he still probably needs because he never won a championship. That was that was all a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, let's chill on the comparisons, because it wasn't that great of a movie either.
Yeah.
It's just nostalgia for the sake of nostalgia. I've rewatched some trash movies that I loved as a kid, and I cringe because I'm like, how did I enjoy this?
Yeah.
You can do a couple backflips and a couple kicks or a slam dunk or two. You got me. I'm sold.
Well, I just want to say, like, because we do a lot of reviews on our YouTube channel and on the podcast, and we really dive deeply into it. But I was just saying, with Space Jam, like, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, because it's Space Jam. So let's just go briefly into like what are some of your favorite standout moments, and some moments that were probably didn't hit the mark for you.
All right, so I got a couple standout moments were when Michael B. Jordan came through at halftime, and they said, "Oh, we got Michael Jordan," and it wasn't until like maybe 3 seconds till they revealed it that I realized, like, oh, it's Michael B. Jordan.
And then spoiler alert, by the way, for anyone listening. We normally do spoiler like alerts, but we're gonna be talking about the movie. If you haven't seen it by now, you probably won't see it. But spoiler alert from here on out and prior to this, but whatever.
Yes, honestly, to be honest, who cares? Because I read spoilers from the second day. Somebody actually spoiled that Rick and Morty was gonna make a cameo in the film as well. And so when they had their cameo, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of knew that this was gonna happen eventually. But yeah, that part when Michael B. Jordan comes through, I thought that was pretty hilarious. That made me LOL. And the other parts that I enjoyed a lot was actually the recruiting of the tunes. LeBron was like, oh yeah, we're gonna get Superman, we're gonna get King Kong, gonna get the Iron Giant. And their first stop was Porky Pig and Daffy Duck. But I loved when they were on the Justice League world and just seeing Superman kind of save the day. I thought that was awesome. I'm like, yeah, Justice League making a cameo. Like, this is the Justice League from when we were kids, with the Black Green Lantern and a couple other people. Then the other part I loved was when they recruited Lola Bunny, because it referenced the Wonder Woman opening scene in Wonder Woman 80. Which I think was probably one of my favorite scenes from that movie. And they had like Lola going through that trial to become an Amazon, and an honorary Amazon. And I thought that was really fun. And her choosing to save, LeBron and Bugs instead of passing. It was all a bunch of just like montagey stuff that I enjoyed. I had fun with that part, as well as just the incredible amount of cameos. The Night King, Iron Giant, King Kong, seeing Batman, seeing, you know, Batwoman on the sideline.
The Matrix stuff.
The Matrix stuff, Harry Potter. When they got Speedy Gonzalez and Grandma, I LOL'd so hard, man. Like Speedy Gonzalez and his ad libs, arriba, arriba, muévate, abuela. You know, it's like, it just really made me chuckle. I'm like, this is fun and this is genuine. So those are some of my favorite moments. I'm gonna let you get to your favorite moments, and we'll save the cringe for the latter half. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the cameos. I thought it was really innovative to use the Warner Brothers licensing to dive into as many different universes as they could. So I thought that was a cool look rather than just sticking to Looney Tunes and Toonland or whatever, because that would have been like too much of a retread for the original movie. I like Don Cheadle. I thought that, you know, he had a lot of moments, of course, it's a kid's movie where he was really cheesy and it didn't work. But he had a lot of moments where I thought he was fun, especially like when he was cursing them out on the bench. It was funny. It was cool. I thought
You
that
like his name?
What was his name again?
Algae Rhythm.
Algae. That's terrible. But that was the worst. That was one moment that really made me like roll my eyes. But outside of the terrible name, like, yeah, his performance was fine.
Oh,
I think he was a good villain.
Yeah.
His of course it's a kids movie, so his motivations were a little like, who cares? And especially like I'm not gonna trash it. We're gonna keep going into the good stuff. But I liked how the father-son relationship was more important than in the first movie, because Mike's kids just kind of showed up a little bit in the first Space Jam, but it wasn't really all that relevant. But I like how they centered LeBron's relationship with his son, his fictional son. I thought that was cool. I thought the addition of video games was a good addition to the movie. It was a good change up, because I think kids today care way more about video games than they do cartoons, especially like with Fortnite and all of these other kind of games. I thought it was really a better way to connect with today's kids than just strictly using the Looney Tunes. And I thought like updating the Looney Tunes into like CGI, I thought was cool. And having a bunch of different versions of each character, whether you're talking about cartoons or comic book style or Justice League style or like the CGI characters, I thought that was really cool. There were a lot of legitimately funny moments where they actually poked fun at LeBron in a cool way. Like he was really self-aware about, he'll just abandon you. To, you know, like he left Cleveland and then he left Miami and he left Cleveland again. Like it was a lot of really cool, funny moments. But go ahead and get into your bad.
Oh, my bad. It starts at the top, unfortunately, and it has to start with acting. And LeBron's acting left a lot to be desired, man.
It was better than Michael Jordan's. I will say that. I will say it was better than Mike's in the original Space Jam, but it wasn't great.
See, it was only better in Mike's in that Mike he wasn't overexposed. His acting range was to be in a certain box and in a certain, you know, a little bit of motivation, a little bit of, come on guys, a little bit of, okay, I'm gonna pick and prod you in slight ways. But in the first one, all the acting was carried by the Looney Tunes and the other comedic actors like
Bill
Murray and the guy from Seinfeld. And so
that's not the guy from Seinfeld, but it looks like the guy from Seinfeld.
Newman. He was Newman from Seinfeld.
Okay. I totally got him confused with
Jason Alexander.
Yeah. You're right. Okay, my bad.
Nah, that's cool. And so I think LeBron was asked to do more, and man, his voice acting in some spots was so suspect. Like when he was falling off the cliff, he was like, I'm like, who falls off the cliff? And yells in such a low toned voice like that.
Yeah, it was,
you know, and like just other spots yeah, you know, other spots where I just like, man, your vocal range can be a little bit different, a little bit more inflection, a little bit more just charisma, because he did so much. And I just think that his performance, he was asked to do a lot, and so his lack of acting chops and, you know, acting classes that he's probably took, really showed itself.
Yeah.
And then, so that was on the acting side. Um, I think some of the jokes were a little funky, like that AD joke about him and the brow that you saw 1,000 times on the trailer. And the fact that they made fun of that as his character, I was like, that landed real flat for me. You know, like, oh, look at what they did to my boy AD. And I was just
I
like,
laughed. Not gonna cat to you on that one. I'll laugh.
and then yeah, there was just some other like just less than stellar moments, but overall, again, it was a kids movie, so I gave him a lot of passes, but those were some of the stuff that really stood out to me. And the basketball game was just really hard to follow. It was incoherent. The scoring system confused the hell out of me. And
I mean, the
I
scoring
was just,
system in Space Jam was pretty. The original was pretty wonky too. I guess it's just Liz Looney Tunes basketball.
yeah, basically, it was Looney Tunes basketball, but at least in the first one, it was 2-pointers and 3-pointers. You know, guys were just making shots here and there, and it was easy to follow. That whole style point thing that they created, and just the weird way you can rack up points and not rack up points and have points deleted. I was just like, bro, what is going on here? And I'm sure a kid could break it down, like, oh yeah, that's akin to this game with this scoring system, you know, a 3-pointer, but with from a behind the back pass and a turnaround jump shot where you look at the crowd like Steph Curry, that's worth 100 points. Okay, as a basketball fan, I'm like, what?
I mean, if you think about it though, like if you ever played a game with a kid, like that's how they actually score stuff. Like when you score, it's like, oh, that's 2 points, but it's like when they score, it's like that's 1,000. So it's like they always rig it to where they win. So it's like it's a very kid way to like, and kids be just making up rules as they play games, and most of the time the rules are rigged so that they win. So it was a very kiddish way to score a game.
Yeah, no, you know what? You're right about that. So those are some of my my critiquing moments, if you will. How about you?
I don't have too many. Just because again, like if I was 8 years old, like I wouldn't care about most of this stuff because it's I'm 8 years old. Yeah, I'm not really thinking too critically about it. Like you said, the acting was hit or miss. I thought he was charismatic in a lot of moments, and there were a lot of moments where it just didn't work. Because I think a lot of people saw like a movie like Trainwreck, and they were expecting him to kind of be as charismatic as he was in that movie. But like you said, there was a lot less of him in that movie, and there was a lot more here. And some of it is him, and some of it's just writing, to be honest. Because like as an actor, like there's only so much you can really do when the writing isn't all of that good.
Yeah,
The chemistry between him and his son was off at sometimes.
yeah.
Like it
Even
didn't
when they
really
hugged.
feel. Yeah, it was really weird. So it's like there was just certain things like just overall that just were a little weird. But yeah, and the game was extra long for no reason. Like I was kind of waiting for it to be over. It was yeah, it was just a
The
little bit
movie was
long.
long.
Yeah, the movie itself, they could have cut a good like 10 minutes off that game. Then that would have helped the movie a lot. But I mean overall it's fine. Like I said, if I was 8 years old, I would probably if I was 8 years old and I was born in what, 2013 or however the math works, yeah,
It's just
like
crazy.
I would love this movie. But for me as an adult, it's okay. It's cool. It's all right. I
Yeah.
can't be too hard on it. If I'm evaluating it the way that we evaluate other movies and albums, and of course it's terrible. But if you just evaluate it for what it is and you grade it on a curve, it's fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's our review for Space Jam 2, aka Space Jam: A New Legacy, aka Space Jam LeBron version, whatever you want to call it. We are going to
Yeah. I kind of want that Toon Squad jersey.
yeah, the jersey's nice.